As soon as Chinese President Xi Jinping set foot on Russian soil, he made an important policy statement. In a world far from calm, China is ready to stand resolutely with Russia to uphold an ethnocentric international system, to stand for a world order based on international law and fundamental norms of international relations based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, to adhere to genuine multilateralism, to promote multipolarity in the world and the democratization of international relations. From the point of view of the collective West, the words are a real crapshoot. Lately, Western leaders have been constantly repeating the formula about a world based on rules. In fact, all their accusations against Russia boil down to the fact that we have challenged this world and these rules. As Vladimir Putin remarked at the Valdai meeting last year, these rules were invented exclusively so that their authors could live without any rules at all, and everything would be allowed them, everything they could get away with, no matter what they did. Of course, such a world does not suit either Russia or China. Our leaders made public statements about this a year ago in a joint statement that laid the foundation for our mutual cooperation. And it is no coincidence that the same approach was reflected in the articles by Putin and Xi that were published in the Chinese and Russian press on the eve of their meeting today. The Russian president emphasized in the Zhenmin Hebao, our countries have consistently advocated the formation of a more just multipolar world order based on international law rather than on some rules, serving the needs of the golden billion. And China's chairman wrote the same thing in an article for Rossiyskaya Gazeta. China and Russia firmly uphold an ethnocentric international system and a world order based on international law, as well as the fundamental norms and principles of international relations based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. To some, these words will seem a formality, but it is this approach and the clearly stated causes of global problems that cause such a loud gnashing of teeth in the West. The reaction of the European and American media to Xi's visit to Moscow long before his plane landed in Vnukovo was already bordering on hysteria. And now commentators on various TV channels and websites are going nuts, trying to prove that Xi and Putin are defying the West and showing defiance. China is sending a clear message to the West about its geopolitical position and that it shares values with its aggressive, authoritarian Russian ally, with whom it stands shoulder to shoulder, spits Professor Alan Mendoza, director of the Henry Jackson Society. Yes, dear Western political scientists, journalists and propagandists, we are indeed united with China that the world cannot exist outside the legal framework based solely on the rules that are drawn in Washington for every particular situation. We do challenge this dangerous world and will always, in all times, in all eras, show our defiance to those who try to dictate rules of behavior to our great nations based on a perverted view of international order. So it has been and so it will be. You can keep gnashing your teeth about this.